Hi everyone, I'm DJ Schleen. I'm a distinguished security architect at Yahoo under the Paranoids and the Security Organization. And this is a presentation I call as far left as you can go. And it's a story about Git hooks and how to use them and how I use them every day. Now, when we talk about shift left, this is a term that I've started to get really tired of. Everyone talks about shifting left. You know, the closer you can to the developer with defects or quality issues, the better, right? And a lot of times when you say shift left or when you hear the term shift left, it's meaning everything that happens after you check in. So the CI, the CD, and the CD as you get that product out into the production environments, all of that, you want to take that information and shift it left. But even more important is actually having things in front of the developer in their own environment and in the tools that they use day to day, the engineering approach or engineering first approach to security. So Git hooks here for the win. You know, and the long and short of it is Git hooks just allow you to put supplemental or additional information into the way you interact with the Git executable on the command line. So for example, there's a pre-commit hook, and all this is just a bash script that sits in the Git or the private .git/hooks directory in your local repository, and this script is called pre-commit. And what happens is when you're committing code, that hook will get executed before the code actually gets pushed into the repository on that commit, or before you push it into the repository. So anything that you do inside of that Git hooks directory, as long as it conforms to the naming convention, then you can customize it and add additional tools and functionality to improve the quality of your code. So the options that we have here, there's a couple. The first way is we be a superhero. We dig in there, we do it ourselves. Or we can use another tool. A lot of them are open source, so we can use hooks. There's an application called Overcommit, Pre-Commit, Jig, AutoHook, Husky. There's a bunch of different tools you can use. I'm going to focus on Hooks, which is a project that I helped create in the DevOps Kung Fu Mafia, an open source community on GitHub. This tool is written in Go. It works on any platform you want, and it doesn't require any runtime to be installed. It can also work with any IDE. Again, open source, and here's a screenshot of how it looks, and this is actually Hooks running on itself. So when I do a commit in this case, we'll see that Hooks is going through a bunch of commit steps. So if you want to get this and follow along with me, you can go to Hooks and install it if you have Homebrew installed. So we could brew tap devops-kung-fu/homebrew-tap. And then you can do a brew install again with DevOps Kung Fu brew tap/hooks with a Z. So make sure you put the Z on there. Let's take a look at this and actually see how Git commit hooks can actually be used in a sample environment written in Go. Okay, so here I am on the command line, and the first thing I'm going to do is create a repository in GitHub to track all this code that we're going to be doing in this demo. So GitHub repo create, tac clone, tac public, and I'll leave this up there for everyone afterwards. And we're going to put it in DevOps Kung Fu /GitKon. That's a good enough name there, if I can actually type properly. So create that repository, empty repository coming in here. So I'll get into that folder. I'm going to quickly touch main.go. And then I'm going to open this up in Visual Studio Code. I'll take a look at it from there. Okay, so we have pretty much nothing here right now. So I'm going to do package main, and I'll just do a main function here. And I'm going to do a just do a println here. And hello. And then I'm going to call another method here. I'm just going to call it done. Create a method, func, done. And we're just going to say format println done. Okay, so what does this have to do with Git Hooks? Well, I'll open up a terminal here inside this window and I'll show you what we have just out of the box here. So if we change into our .git/hooks directory, we're going to see a bunch of samples here. And we can just look a bit here at the pre-commit. And you'll see that it's just a bash script. Has a bunch of different things in it. Really, it's just here to be a placeholder in case you want to put something in here. So again, we can either just rename this file to pre-commit, put whatever script we want in, and that's fine. But I'm going to use a hooks as a utility here. So I already have hooks installed. So I'm going to change back into my previous directory here, and I have main.go. I'm going to do a go mod tidy, or go mod init, sorry, DevOps, GitHub.com, DevOps, Kung Fu, and GitKon, and do a go mod tidy. Nothing much in there, and then I'm going to show you how to install hooks here. So we could be on any command line. We could be inside of Visual Studio Code. Again, hooks just works with anything. I have hooks again pre-installed using that homebrew tap that I let you know earlier. So now I'm going to initialize hooks, and I'm going to do a hooks init config. And what that'll do is it'll create a sample configuration here, and you'll see it's called hooks.yaml. And it's separated into a few sources. This is a type of pre-commit, and if I run this right now, it's just going to say hello hooks, and then there's a source that I can pull in here. It's another DKFM project called Hinge. Sources basically is just a bunch of Git packages that you can bring down and install locally. So go lint, a lot of these different things you'll see here. Instead of using this one's just the default one. I would do a hooks init verbose and verbose output. Now what verbose output does here is show us what's happening as we're committing code. So I'm going to commit this. We're going to see something that says hello hooks come out to the command line as I commit this into the repository. So let me do a git commit tac s tac am initial commit. So that will come up here, and you see it start saying hooks, hello hooks, and then branch main, nothing is tracked. So this is actually hooks getting called from that pre-commit that is getting called from Git when you're doing the repository commit. So I'm going to make this a little bit easier. I'm going to do git add dot, and now you'll see the hello hooks comes, the step passed, and it'll check it in the repository. Okay, great. Well, that's fine. We just said hello hooks. Let's take a different example. So what I'm going to do is I'll just copy another file in here, and now we can see the hooks that this uses. There's quite a bit. So on a pre-commit, this first step we do here, we'll do a git pull, and we just pull the latest just to make sure that we have no upstream changes. Then what we're going to do is we're going to tidy the mod file. We're going to go and update all the dependencies to latest. So this is pretty cool. Rather than having Dependabot or some kind of thing hit it on the server and have you upgrade your dependencies, you can just do it here, and then when you check it in, at least it's updated from the last time you did it. Not saying that it's not going to change again. That's where Dependabot comes in, hits on the server. What we're talking about here is moving a lot of this upgrade left so developers can test the latest versions without having to commit it and find out later. Again, it's closing that feedback loop there of DevOps. So we have Sift here, and Sift is generating a software bill of materials. Then we format the code to make it look pretty. We lint it. We do an error check on it to make sure things are handled. A cyclomatic complexity check, and here it basically will only fail if it's over 10. It'll run Hinge. Hinge is a DKFM project. That'll actually create a Dependabot file for you. So as we run this, you'll actually see the Dependabot file being created and put into the repository. I build it to make sure it works. I test it to make sure we got coverage. And then I add everything back into the commit that's changed, and it goes up into the repository. So that's pretty cool. So we can mutate the contents of our commit during that pre-commit process. So let's see how this works. Now, the first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make this thing fail. So I'm going to fail on a lint, and this is basically just the command. So you exec go lint, and then these are the arguments that get passed. So I'm going to say set exit status here, and then this basically just says lint the entire folder structure. And that's all really Hooks is. You can check out the documentation. It's pretty easy. You can actually run scripts in here, a whole bunch of different things. So now we're going to commit this code here and see what happens. It should fail on that go lint because I don't have a comment. And there we go. Main.go exported function done should have a comment or be unexported. And then with this set exit status, it's going to fail. So I can hit Control, click on it, come over here, and then I can add a comment. Prints done. There we go. Save that. Now I can come back and I can try committing that again. And we'll see everything passes. So the linting passes. Hinge automatically just created this GitHub folder. And we have our SBOM folder here with all of our software bill of materials. Everything got added into the commit, got thrown up into the remote repository. Let's take a look and see what happened here. And so we'll take a look at DevOps Kung Fu. We have our GitKon repository here. And here's all of the information. Probably should have put coverage.out into a git ignore. But here's your SBOMs automatically created. We have our Dependabot config that was created on the client side. And away we go. We're good to go. Well, thanks for joining me today for my talk at GitKon 2022. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference, and I hope you enjoyed going as far left as you can go. Thanks very much. I'm DJ.